Welcome back to another episode of the RAG Report podcast, where I'm bringing you a daily bulletin show with founders, owners, advisors, suppliers to the global recruitment industry to give their take, their experience, their advice on how we can all as an industry survive this COVID-19 pandemic. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Dave Hume. He's the founder and CEO of Seriously Connected. They're effectively a collection of self-employed recruiters working under one brand. Dave himself based himself out of Portugal, Lisbon. He's 100% a remote worker, so I'm sure there's lots of information he can give us. And another guy like myself who's connected across the industry and hearing lots of good and bad stories in the midst of the madness. So Dave, thanks for taking the time, mate.
No, you're welcome, and thanks. I think you're doing a good thing. I think people need to hear the stories, get some good news, maybe some of the bad news, but some of it a reality check. So thanks for having me on board.
No worries. Yeah, look, I pivoted this show on a whim, basically, on that Monday morning. I just said, look, there's no way I can sit there telling stories of the recruitment agency growth of 10 years ago when people just, it'd be pissing people off right now to listen to that. They want to hear what the hell's going on right now. I start every episode with the same question, Dave. What the hell's going on for you right now?
Oh, flipping heck. Well, I think from our side of things, we're in a similar boat. We have lost some of our, so we're a community of recruiters around the UK. We've got some in Europe, Spain, Ireland, Croatia. They're struggling, and they've got to the same point where everyone, I think the one thing that happens is everyone's just gone, what the actual fuck has just happened? And I hate to swear about it, but there's that kind of, what is going on?
Yeah.
And I put it out there the other day just to say to people, listen, if you need some guidance, some structure to understand how to run your business, because we're all about the solo sort of space. The one thing that happens is people have just got to that point where everything's been pulled and now nobody knows what to do. And I think that's indicative of most markets, unless you're in, you're fortunate to be in a space that needs people. But it's what is going on. It is just hit a brick wall, and all of a sudden people in panic stations, and people now need to try and look at themselves, their business, and kind of calm. I think they kind of need to just calm down a little bit, I know it's awful, but let's take a step back. You're in the point as well, aren't you? Where it's like, right, what next? You just used the word pivot.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people now got to go, oh, right, I was doing this, and now I'm going this way.
Well, let's focus it on what you know, which is the solo recruiter, right? I'm pretty sure that a lot of the audience I have are either small 1 to 2 man bands or people that haven't even started a recruitment job yet, or a career as an owner. They were probably planning to launch their business this year, and for whatever reason are either will or won't do it, right? But like, paint a picture. What's the life of a solo recruiter looking like right now?
Today?
Yeah.
0. All right. So if you look at some of our guys at the moment, one of our guys just started up. He joined us 4 weeks ago, starting in New York, picking up a market in New York. That is like hit a brick wall before he's even got going.
Yeah.
All right. You've got one of our other guys, for example, who's operating in air conditioning. You cannot go to the buildings because there's nobody allowed in. There's no air conditioning. So at the moment, you've got Andrew, and he's kind of working with grads, helping them look at their profiles, look at what's going on, getting conversations going, trying to build his slow sideways steps into future clients. And then you look at, say, Sam, and he's decorated his lounge. I think he's into the kitchen now. I'm not sure how much weight he's put on. He's eating more crumpets than any, So
Yeah.
It just depends on where you are. But then if you've got Luke's the opposite. The guys are just kind of do what's right. Luke's gone, until somebody tells me to stop selling, until somebody says, stop ringing me, I've got a job to do. I've got a business to run. But what's kind of happened is we work with our guys to try and give them a strategy and a focus moving forward. Most of the solo recruiters that, I hope I'm not doing anybody a disservice here, they kind of work on jobs with no real strategy. And this is kind of where you kind of understand the marketing perception, with no real strategy of how to build that personal brand and build that magnet into them to help them build closer relationships.
Yeah.
A lot of them try to dominate a space, which means they don't really get as close as they would need to get to some key clients. And I think at the moment, a lot of people are panicking because they now don't know what to do next. I spoke to a guy last week, big biller, 350,000 a year, and he went, every single job's been pulled. And he said, I've never had to make a call. I've always had calls coming in. I've always had jobs coming in. So I think that's what's happened to a lot of recruiters. They've now gone, oh, desk is empty. And a lot of recruiters out there probably don't run their finances as they should do. A lot of them in lifestyle businesses, which is understandable, but you get 5, 6, 7, 10,000 pound fee. Nobody's really putting 4 or 5 grand of that away through periods like this. So depending on what kind of recruiter you are, depending on where you are today, but I reckon most of them are in panic stations.
Really? So you tell us about your life, because your role, are you still recruiting, or do you just manage and support the others?
No, so I kind of like to lead from the front. So I'm nearly 20 years now, Sean. Some of the people I talk to are not even out nappies when I started in recruitment. It's kind of embarrassing, but we're getting on a little bit. And I still look after the food and beverage market and high-end engineering, senior people, and that is a space that's really on shutdown. So I'm kind of fortunate because I only work with a number of key accounts. I'm probably talking in a negative about what I'm actually trying to promote to everybody, because I only like 4 or 5 clients and I work really, really close with them. And it's about being visible and available now, all right? It's about working with your clients and trying to see how engaged you can get with them. So I got involved because I knew that solo recruiters probably need support. What people now need is communication, support. They need to be engaged. They need people around them. And there's a lot of people that are fearful, sat at home, their home office or their bedroom. Everyone's obviously in the bedroom or the home office now, not knowing where to start and having nobody to turn to, no one to talk to. That's kind of why we built Seriously Connected. But I think the key thing now is about not how I run my desk, but how we try to help our recruiters stay afloat. You know, how we chase their invoices and how we make sure they're getting paid, because the small recruiters are struggling because they don't know how to chase invoices, because they just kind of, live and hope that they're going to pay on time.
Is that the bit that you cover for your guys, the back office?
Yeah, I mean, that's a small part of what we do,
right.
But it just gives them the reassurance that they don't have to worry about invoices. But I think to try and help the viewers, are they called viewers?
Listeners, viewers, whatever you want to call them.
I didn't know if you want to talk to me because I've got my Roy Keane badge and I know that you're on the blue side.
Yeah, anyone on YouTube can see he's got a Roy Keane sticker, I'd call it, whatever that is.
He's my hero.
Yeah,
I think that right now, this minute, if I were to offer any advice, it's about getting your house in order. Okay. Yeah. I think what I like about you guys is you really drive home hard the marketing side, inbound, to be the magnet, to attract people in, to save you making cold calls, etc. But the caveat to that is a lot of people are concentrating on content without getting the core message of what their sales strategy is and the core value proposition that they've got to their clients. And that's something that I think people should be looking at right now, taking this time to take a step back and really listen. For a few weeks, it is going to be quiet. And what I think is going to happen is once we get past this period of craziness, there will be clients be more receptive to your calls because they've got their own strategies in order. Candidates will suddenly start realizing where they are, see how they've been received by their clients and by their employers and what their future looks like and what their prospects are suddenly going to be. And maybe there's an opportunity when this kind of calms down to kind of be really proactive in your recruitment assignments without actually recruiting, building your network, building your relationships, candidate banking, getting close to your clients, and being ready, because there are a lot of recruiters that are going to be lost in this current climate because they just don't have the funds and they don't have a lot of people are going to want to go and be employed again. They're going to struggle working from home on their own. So I think there's a lot to consider, but there are things that you can do. You can look at your finance processes. You can look at, the people that the Barry Cullens of this world who will tell you how to run your credit control or look after your invoicing. Look at inbound marketing. There is a time to be learning the kind of things that you teach: inbound marketing, image content creation, email marketing. Let it calm down. Just let it calm down and breathe.
I think 100%. I mean, I've been saying since this kicked off that I think now is not the time to hide away. I think everyone's got different circumstances and size of organizations and costs and all the rest of it. And some are at the point where they're making big decisions. Some are trying to get to that point, and others have already done it. Yeah. And I hold my hat off to any of them, because I think everyone who runs a business is in such a fucking tough.
It's unknown territory. Nobody has the answers. Nobody has the magic, the magic wand. Nobody can fix this. No. We've all got to kind of meander our way through and hope that we come out the other side in the best way.
But we have to be real with the fact that this is not going away next week. This could be a 6-month real difficult situation, but it could drag out 18 months, right? So the way you make money, the way your livelihood's been changed. And firstly, it's accepting the loss of what's gone on. It's a bit like one of my clients, Chris Redmond from Red Holt, put on a we did a webinar with him on Friday where he had 50 senior leaders in his network on a webinar, and he had one guy from Asia Pac, one from the US, one from the UK, and they talked about this. I forget the name of it, but it's like a curve of change that people go through, and it's very relevant to people that lose, like bereavements or
it's like a bell curve, but it's like a reverse bell curve.
Yeah, reverse bell curve, and it starts with like shock, and then moves into frustration and anger and all the rest of it. And it was like, where are we now on that curve? And I think there's still a lot of people in shock that have built businesses for 5, 10 years, 20 years even, and they're seeing the pace at which it's falling, it's being dragged back. It's hard to take. Like, it's really hard to handle. And I equally, you've had someone who spent 2 years as a solopreneur and just feeling comfortable in what they're doing. They're putting money to one side. They're living how they expected, and boom, it stops again. And I think having a content strategy 100% needs to happen, but mentally you've got to be prepared. You've got to be ready for it. You've got to be in the right mindset. You can't just do it. You can't just say, I'm crying 1 minute about my business and firing people, and the next day I'm on the market shouting about it. There's a process that people need to think about.
I think so, and I think what is the fortunate side? Those people who have banked cash. I was talking to a girl the other day. They launched their business. She rang me up. She said, "What do we do? We launched our big business beginning of March." She was like, "What are we going to do now?" And you know something? Right, if you've done the right thing and you've budgeted and you've forecast X amount of pounds in the bank so that you know you're not going to generate a revenue, which is the most sensible piece of advice I could ever offer any solo recruiter. Do not rely on a couple of months. You need 3, 6, 8 months of income there to protect yourself, because then you can recruit, then you can do your job properly. But I think that anybody who has that, take a step back now and start looking at, it's not just content marketing. People, I must admit, LinkedIn is a wash. I've gone really quiet on LinkedIn because I'm tired of seeing all the pictures of everybody working from home. I'm tired of seeing pictures with their kids. Right? If you're spending time with your kids, don't be putting it on LinkedIn. Spend time with your kids. Completely be in the moment with them. It's not a LinkedIn photo opportunity, right? But I think that if you're in there, the world kind of needs some pattern interrupts. They need to be able to, if you're going to start creating content, you've got to start looking at, first of all, go back and look at your business. Let's look at all your data. Let's look at all your candidates. Look at all those people that you've not spoken to. Let's get everything tidied up. Let's get everything working seamlessly, like a well-oiled machine. Because when this starts to go live again, and it will, your competitors who didn't, your competitors who pissed about and just did nothing and did try to make the most of opportunity when it comes, because it's coming, right? There is an opportunity coming, and how big it's going to be depends on what effort you put in now. And if that's learning about content, if it's understanding your strategy, all right, it's okay to take a step back and be uncomfortable with where you are at the moment. That's normal. Coming to terms with it. Every one of us is going, whoa. And because there is no end point, there's no button when they say, right, on May the 25th, this will be over, or September the 9th. Nobody knows what they're working to, so they're always playing worst case scenario. So while that's kind of real, what I'd recommend people do is start planning for when that world resets. Your industry will need you. This is not like the recession of 2008, because that was tough. We went through it. It was horrific. This is different. People will have money to spend, and businesses will want to get going quicker than normal, and they will need you. So you need to be prepared, because the demand on your clients is going to be significant. So you need to be there, ready, like the knight in shining armor, to try and help them with everybody that you need to be talking to between now and then. But it's okay not to be proactive now. It's okay not to be busy. Because in a few weeks, like you just said, I don't know what that curve is, there will come a point where clients start saying, enough's enough now, right? We know we might need some recruitment. We're going to need to start interviewing. Everybody's talking about video interviewing. It's the norm now. But soon we're going to start to bring in these pieces and these people together. How do we do that? And then you start helping your clients with onboarding.
Well, that's what I've heard a lot about, digital onboarding and offering. One client I was talking to is looking at outplacement. So he's going, well, if no one's going in and everyone's being laid off, well, I'm turning my system, I'm turning my the tide, and I'm going to start helping people off board.
Yeah.
And, give them executive coaching and sensible that. Like, everyone's going that way and you're trying to run that way. So why not just do the same, reverse your skill set and go the other way? It's just, not everyone's got the capability to change that fast and nimble, especially the bigger companies are in a much different, they're like, they move, they've got such scale, but they move slow. Your solopreneur should be able to pivot faster and make an impact.
This is it. And I'm not suggesting people change industries completely, but you've got to start looking at what value you're offering your clients. And the time now, is the time now to sell? Or is the time now to be aggressive? The time now is to be visible. The time now is to let everybody know that you're there and how you can help them. That's a real key point. But the pivot, I don't think is a sensible thing. It's about maybe battening down and looking at your finances, looking at those contracts you've got in place, maybe being a bit more cost conscious next time. Maybe these are lessons. Maybe you don't need the video platform, the job boards, this, that, and the other, right? You need the key things. You need your CRM, you need your email. You need to be using sensibly the things that you guys teach. It's how to be seen and how to be found. And I think that when that time comes, you need to be ready. Because there are a lot of people make a lot of money in these downturns, but you've got to be ready when this upturn comes, because that curve will change.
Yeah.
And a lot of people we will lose. We will lose a lot of people because they don't have the finances in place. We will lose because they can't cope with working from home, or even their industry is decimated. Look at the leisure and the retail space. It's just, we have another business. It's on its behind. It's absolutely fell off a cliff. But you have to keep pushing on. And
how are you coping from a personal perspective? Because obviously you've always been remote, so this won't change. What's going on in your personal life, and how are you coping with it?
Well, we've had a quite traumatic time without going into it. We lost my father-in-law a couple of weeks back. We had to disappear back because we're based in Lisbon at the moment. We had to go back to the UK. We were in the UK for a week. At the same time, all that was happening, I've not seen Fiona for 2 months. And then we were moving house at the same time. So the day we landed back here in Lisbon, the next day we were moving house with no food in the fridge, no white appliances because we had all new white, and then trying to get to the shops when you're not allowed in the shop to get shopping and stock everything up without any Wi-Fi for the kids to do homeschooling. It's been insane, but I kind of feel really optimistic about it. We're learning lots.
Yeah. How old are the kids?
Oh, flipping heck. My youngest is 14, 18, 26.
How's it disrupting the 14 and 18-year-old in terms of critical time for exams or?
Well, Sam had already finished. So Sam's back in Scotland. So he was supposed to be on a course before he goes back to college in September. But that's all been kiboshed. My eldest is in Manchester doing remote health insurance through Vitality, and he's sat at home with his laptop and everything now, which is kind of cool. My youngest is homeschooling with Google Classrooms, and I take my absolute hat off to every parent who hasn't got Google Classrooms, because, oh my God, I do not know what we would do without him being taught all day long.
Who buys? So what is it? Just there's just Google lessons going on all day?
No, by the school. So the Google Classroom is like the platform. So the school is still teaching you. So listen, at 9 o'clock the other morning, we didn't, because we're on week 3 now. Today is week 3 for us, to start week 3. And he was, right, I've got my class, I've got PE to start with, and then I've got Portuguese, I can't remember. And all I can hear is this banging around. He goes upstairs, opens his door. There's Max doing his burpees up and down. It's hilarious.
Really?
Right. But the thing is, because the way we operate, though, we are all about video. We've had to work hard to understand how to motivate our guys. We are having, not daily, but probably 4 hour-long calls every day throughout the week. Because our guys, they just need human contact. They need answers, and collectively, they know that there are no answers.
That is a question. Like, how do leaders of recruitment businesses that are used to sitting in an office, the novel of last week's working from home will start to fade, and then they're going to furlough people, which means that it's going to cut down to the bare bones of their best people, but still. Best people in a market that's dying and is not moving is going to be tough. How do they keep morale up? What tactics would you adopt to do that?
Well, the thing is, we're a bit different here. I'll tell you why. Because our guys don't work for us; they're all self-employed. We're not, in essence, a recruitment business. We're a service business. So our job is to support them with the infrastructure, the framework, the motivation, etc. But how can you then, if you're an employee, it's a different conversation, because you can kind of tell people what to do. You can instruct them. You can guide them. We can only offer advice. And at the moment, we're kind of promoting in terms of with some email content, some strategies, some social media stuff to try and create the noise, to try and sit in there without them actually going against what they want to do. Like Luke is absolutely 100% aggressive about it, whereas the other guys are a bit softer. How can we talk to the clients? What can we do? We're advising them on how to engage multiple clients on one call. Your service managers, right? Try and get 3 or 4 service managers on. So we use Odro. So try and get 3 or 4 service managers on your Odro platform. And let's talk about how we're managing this critical period now. Let's share ideas. Let's have conversations with the different service managers. I've got various different strategies, for example, about building weekly email content. Now is not the time to be selling if you don't want to be selling. We're not recruiting and out being proactive trying to attract new recruiters, but it's about being close to the ones we've got. And this is what I was saying. It's about being available and about being visible. And that's who we are to our people. We're available, whether you've got finance queries, helping them get all your accounts up to date, but making sure your data's clean and ready for this phase, helping them write new jobs and new adverts and getting them all ready in a way that they want to feel engaged as well. There is no answer. And the big agencies, I don't really have the answer. I've not worked in a large agency for some time, but it's about being available and being visible and about keeping people close. It's about understanding their structure of the day. I think the key thing, one thing I think is really important is there's a lot of people now working from home and they've never worked from home before. And this is a terrible experience for them because they're not used to working with the kids around and with the TV on, with all the distractions and everybody else away from home. The novelty is kind of wearing off. So they're going to develop really bad habits. And I think if I'm a large business owner now, I will be really concentrating on not necessarily productivity, but building strong, structured, positive working habits. So when this changes and it recorrects and the work from home becomes a normal way of operating, that they don't use these bad habits that they've created now, because it's not going to help them generate or be as productive as they could. There's an art to it. It's not easy, and we're learning every day.
No, I agree. I mean, my personal life is, I was already doing like a day or so a week from home anyway, but it was different when my wife was in the gym and, I was in the kitchen and with the dog running around, and it was just different. Whereas now it's like I've locked myself in her dressing room while she's with the dog because she's at home all day. And it's been nice in some ways. We're spending more time together than we ever have. She's definitely enjoying the pace change and, not waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that. Yeah. But that novelty is probably still there a little bit. But I think for me, in my whole life, I'm starting to question my decisions from a spending perspective. This is making me really think about like how I live my life beyond this, and whether I'm, direct debits coming out your ass and spending on this and spending on that. And you start to think, well, I'm a little bit excited about the way we get used to cooking again and being resourceful with all of our food. I read an article over the weekend that 40% of all consumer food is eaten out in the UK. So supermarkets 2 weeks ago catered for 60% of the nation's food. Overnight, they've got to cater for 100%. So that increase is incredible. That's going to put pressure. But it will mean jobs and all the rest of it. But what that'll also mean is people need to eat what's in the cupboards. People need to stop going out for takeaways or thinking about we're going to live a more simple existence.
So we moved house, right? We moved here 3 years ago. We still have boxes that we've not opened, right? When we moved here the first time, okay? Because we just all collect crap, right?
Borders.
And I do think that, I spoke to somebody the other day they were saying to me, do I need an Instagram account for the business side of things, okay? So and I was like, well, where's all your customers? They're all on LinkedIn. So let's lead a simpler business life. Yeah,
that's why I always say, pick one and stick to it.
And absolutely smash it to pieces. If your world is not on LinkedIn, don't be there. And I think that the same can be said about life and your food and the cupboards. We live in Cascais, right? There's a lot of nice places to go and eat, right? And it's not very expensive to eat, so we do it a lot, right? But now we're working out what we're doing with the carrots and 2 or 3 days. And I love all of that. It's real good fun. And Max is saying, we should make our own pasta. I'm like, come on, there are limits, right? There are limits how far we're going to go. Yeah. But I think that this simpler lifestyle, and because we live in this lifestyle way in terms of the people that we serve, a lot of people want to do everything, and we've tried to do everything. And actually, it's not about doing everything. It's about being brilliant at one thing. It's about being famous to a few. It's about getting as close as you can. And if you can really simplify an inch wide and mile deep and simplify everything that you do, job boards and the video and LinkedIn recruiter license and, engaging people like you to help them build up, Why don't you just build an absolute robust email marketing? It don't cost you anything. You've got a CRM. Use LinkedIn. Be the magnet. Engage, and then start talking to people on a regular basis. We can simplify the way that we do what we do, and a lot of these lessons.
Yeah,
listen,
you're right. You're right.
We had a blowout the other day, right? Of all the things that happened, we had a blowout, and I was like, do we even need a car with the price of Ubers? Honestly, it's driving me insane. You know, we can all lead a simpler lifestyle.
What's life lockdown in Portugal? Is it like Spain where you can't leave the house, or are you allowed to go for a
Not
run?
as bad as Spain. So Andrew, one of our guys, he's on day 19 today, lockdown, not allowed to leave the house unless you're going for groceries. We're on. This is the start of week 3. You can go out, but they don't encourage it. You're not allowed to go to the beaches. You're not allowed to do all the things that we moved here for. We can't do any of them.
Right? Yeah. Well, I'm going out to walk the dog. And no one's bothering me at this point. But apparently, I read again another article over the weekend that says like people are like shopping in their neighbours, saying like phoning in the police, saying, "Oh yeah, my neighbour's been out 3 times today," and all this stuff.
Really?
Can you imagine that? Like it's incredible.
We've got we're I don't know. I mean, it's kind of I don't know. We've got so we've got various people. So we now are in like this round robin WhatsApp group. If anybody's going to the shop, who needs anything, to minimize the amount of people going out. We're doing drive-bys. I'm from Manchester. A drive-by did not mean dropping off a bag of potatoes where I'm from, right?
Oh, I get that one. What's your opinion on the football? It's about the most successful United have been for a while, isn't it?
Hey, listen. Listen, don't go in there with your... I'll tell you something. A bit like you, anything we can do, anything that stops Liverpool winning the league, I'm okay with. Right.
I had a joke in the office because my business partner's a Liverpool fan and my account director's a Liverpool fan. Neither of them, I don't think, have ever been to a game, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
But I said to him, like, coronavirus is going to stop it anyway. You're not going to win the league. And then they were like, whatever. And I went, no, it will. And I didn't believe it, but I said, on the other side, if it does, it means we're pretty fucked. And then it's all come out. But to be honest, I don't know about you. I'm just not bothered. Like, I'm not listening to Sky Sports debates, and I put Talk Sport on the other day and it was just ridiculous. They were like playing Sabutio or something. I think when it comes to life and death and your business and your family, I don't know, I'm not that bothered. I think it puts it all into perspective. I've still got a lot of people talking about football, asking questions on WhatsApp groups and that. I don't care.
I could take it or leave it a little bit. All right. I'm not a diehard fan. I've kind of not had the time to go and watch the games like I used to. But what I am seeing is, I think there's a real mental need of men to have the football release. And I do think there's a lot of withdrawal symptoms, okay? There's a lot of people out there that Saturday, Sunday, even, it's not all about going out for a pint, but it's that kind of ritual that men do. And ladies, obviously, my brother, my sister-in-law is a diehard City fan. Yeah. In fact, her dad is the chairman of Reddish Blues, right?
Sounds like a legend.
Yeah. But this is the thing. I think there's a lot of withdrawal symptoms. One of our guys is like, I need football. The first thing when this is over, and I'm going to go to the game, or I'm going to go and have a game of football, with my mates. So I do think that there's a lot of mental stimulation needed that is being missed. And if I have one real concern is this work from home world that we're moving into now. People need to talk to people, and what really concerns me is that they're going to end up not being as productive, being emotionally and mentally drained and tired, and not able to function properly and going to start having some mental health issues in the future. So I do think there'll be a massive uprise of a business somewhere that starts helping the self-employed work from home people to maintain their mindset, because I think this is a real an overload in a difficult way to operate. And I think
if you think about this, there's two ways of looking at it as well. You've got the guys like myself and you that, you're you've got kids and stuff, but you still got a partner there. I've got my dog running around, and that's stressful in itself. And then I've got one of my best mates he's at home on his own. He lives alone, and he can't see his girlfriend because her dad's got terminal cancer, so she's not going to risk it. So he's literally on his home. He's not going to see anyone until this is over. And apart from the shops or whatever, but I feel for them people as well. There's a lot of people out there that, they live on their own. They've got a cool lifestyle. They're social. That's going to end. They're literally on their own all the time. And
I think this, going back to what you said, okay, there's a simpler way of life. And people now need to be more connected than they ever did. And the advent of the cameras and Zoom and Odro and interviews and all this kind of thing, this Skype, there is just no excuse not to be talking to the people. And you know something? it's good for you as well. It's good for the people doing it. One of
Yeah.
the reasons why I put out last week about any solo recruiter who just wants to talk about the business, just wants to get some conversation, and it's open now. If you want to talk about anything to do with your business, if you think it can help or give you some pointers or kind of get your business knock it into shape somehow, right? The thing is, it's good for me because I enjoy it, because I get to give back. But the key thing is, you've got to spend time now helping each other, because people need help now more than they ever did. And they need interaction, because we're in this closed way of living, an isolated way of living.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons was I wanted to still be talking to people, and I want to be helping. And it's kind of difficult on LinkedIn. It's kind of difficult to socially. You've kind of got to do it in real life and have a proper conversation. So whoever it is, if you can help, just you can do anything. Just get on the phone to him.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, look, Dave, that's it. 30 minutes, time's up. But look, thanks so much, mate. I want to keep in touch, find out how you're surviving out there. Are you open to anyone who reaches out, wants to have a chat? You're up for it. Give them your advice.
I've got half an hour booked in. I think I had about 14, 15 last week. Blocking out 2 or 3 hours a day. I'm happy to do it. There's a link on my LinkedIn profile, I think. If not, I'll be sending some stuff out on just a status update. But yeah, we haven't got a magic wand, but you know what? As somebody once said, it's good to talk.
Yeah, wicked. Well, look, thanks, mate. Appreciate it. And guys, I hope you enjoyed another episode. It was a cracker. And look, I ask for one thing at the end of the show. It's that you share this with somebody else. Part of the same story, you know. I'm not asking for a fee, but I am asking you to go, who could I share this message with, this episode with, that could benefit? We all know recruiters, recruitment owners, even our competitors could benefit from this. So please share it, like it, comment on it, the lot. That's it. I'll be back again tomorrow with another story, another person's take on this. But in the meantime, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.